Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Soul and Screen. In this particular video, I'm going to be bringing up another topic of discussion. It is in regards to Tyler Perry's Zatima in regards to season number 2, episode number 14, which I did the review on and dropped it on Monday, and I just wanted to go a little deeper. So let's just get into it. So one of the things that really kind of caught my attention when I was watching the episode, and I do like the episode. I really, like I said in my video, like how Zach just brought it. Like, right, he came to the club, he saw Fatima, he went straight over to her, he sat next to her, he was looking her straight in her eye, he was just like dead on, and being sincere, doing what he needed to do to get his baby back, right? And so it was so funny and G move because he didn't give Paul like no play until he was done saying what he had to say. But one of the things that I did not like that Zach did is Zach made everything about sex. And while Fatima and Zach have been very honest with each other, if you have watched the Sisters series as well, that the sex that they have is amazing, right? They both have mentioned that the best sex that they have ever had is with one another. And so with that being said, I can understand to an extent why he would bring that up, but that was not Fatima's lure or draw to Zach, where it was with Karen. And this is what I say with Zach. It's Zach is having a hard time in certain aspects when it comes to routine and what he, kind of falls back into. He has a hard time kind of really understanding, like, Fatima is not Karen, like, in any way. Like, he knows that, right? But the way that he maneuvers and the way that he's been acting with her, especially in this season, is all like his default button with Karen. So he's kind of like coming at Fatima the same way that he did Karen, and Fatima ain't having it. And I love that about the writing that Tyler did with this, because he did not allow Fatima to fold because she ain't Karen. And what I mean by that is, like, Karen would get super horny, and, she would start missing Zach. And that's one of the reasons why they kept getting back in their cycle, because it was just like they were horny. But Fatima is like standing the line and holding the line. She's like really trying to get Zach to understand that, you hurt me. Like, in order for us to get back to a place where we can start fresh, you know what I mean, is that he's going to have to kind of woo her back again, like show her that she can be safe with him. And because he broke it, right? Like, he broke that trust that she had. She felt safe with him. She felt secure with him. And that's something that women love, you know what I mean? It's not just about the sex, but he went at her at the table when he was talking to her. He was like, you don't miss me. And, she never said no, she don't miss him, because of course she misses him. But she was just like, come on, Zach. Like, and he was like, she was like, he was like, he not good enough for you. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he's like, you need me. And she was like, no, I need somebody who's not going to hurt me. And the first thing that he said is like, you need somebody who's going to lay you on your back, who gonna get between your thighs, and you know what I mean? Like, and I just want you, I want to make love to you. I want to wake up with you on my chest in the rain and all this kind of stuff. And I understand that, he was just kind of, to an extent, playing to, a certain beat and just trying to get her to kind of reflect on what they have. But again, it really kind of, in my opinion, showed that Zach still was kind of missing the point that Fatima was making. Just because Karen was able to get over her hurt that Zach caused her in the multiple times that, apparently that he cheated on her, and it was just okay with an apology and then sex, and then they were fine, and obviously they weren't really fine, you know what I mean? She was just suppressing it and pushing it down until something else happened, and then she ended up blowing up on him, and that's why she was always cussing him out and being just disrespectful to him, because she was really pushing it down and suppressing it. She never really allowed Zach or told him or made it a requirement that you got to somehow find a way to help me fix this wound that you created. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that makes sense. And that's what I did like about the writing, that Fatima did not, downgrade their relationship to just sex. She really wanted him to understand, you really hurt me. You really hurt me. And before we can get to this place again where we grooving with each other and the sex is just amazing, and then we just sitting in la la land, holding in each other's arms, like before we can get back to the place where I want to lay on your chest afterwards, we got some healing has to take place. You know what I mean? And I feel like he just really missed that whole part. And I was glad that Fatima held the line on it. And that, we know in a couple, another episode or two, I think, when they do end up going to her parents' house, she explains once again, you really hurt me. And so it's not just about sex. And I'm wanting Zach to get that understanding a little sooner, because it seems like he definitely just kind of fell back into, well, dang, this is what worked with Karen, instead of like, how do I get Fatima back? And he did eventually, like, he heard what she said, and he did try to do some course correction when he went to talk to Dr. Reed and, get the, ended up getting the the therapy, which is what Fatima mentioned early on in the season, like, babe, I just think we need to talk to somebody, that kind of thing. And he just didn't want to, and then he finally did. You know what I mean? So I think it just was interesting to see how he really kind of minimalized her actual hurt, and even their relationship to an extent to sex only, instead of, the actual hurt that she was saying. Like they had a genuine love for each other. It wasn't just about sex. They enjoyed each other's company. You know what I mean? They had fun with each other. Like he told Karen, she makes me laugh, they just were a good couple. They worked in all ways. And so when you just throw sex in my face when you're trying to make up, it kind of, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he almost, if it wasn't just so sincere and so, just raw, it almost would have been him messing it up, just because of the fact that you making this about sex. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course, she wants to get back with him and get back to that place, because she told Paul, like, the first night she horny as all get out. But just to make this about, like, we can fix this with sex, she's wanting more than that, right? Like, you're trying to create this life with this woman. You asked her to marry you. She's trying to get you guys to a place where, you can move forward as a couple. You know what I mean? She doesn't know she's pregnant yet, but that's where she's thinking, and that's where he's thinking, but he is just limited. He does not really equate anything else outside of love but sex. It's like sex equals love only. And she's showing him, some, different ways and different paths to doing it. And so, anyway, it just was very interesting to me, because it was just like, wow, like, you just really making this about sex only. Like, and she's telling you that she's hurt. Like, you hurt me to the core, and you talking about sleeping with me, because in all honesty, that's what was going on with her and with him and Karen. He was going back. He apologized. They have sex, and it just, compounded hurt, and all this kind of stuff until she exploded. And that's not what Fatima wants. Fatima wants, like, we need to heal. How do we heal? First, the apology, it was sincere. Now she's hearing him tell her, I ain't gonna do that no more. And then she sees that he's going to Dr. Reed, and so she can see that he's making the right moves. And then when he went up there and sung, I'm pretty sure that just melted. I know that had to be hard for her to just get up and walk out, because if I don't leave, I am gonna bend and sleep with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what it was. And so, anyway, just wanted to know, what do you guys think? Did you also kind of pick that up, or did you kind of think that it was fine? Again, this is a channel where we can agree to disagree, and sometimes we just all catch something different, and that was what I caught. But it wasn't no shade again to him. It was just because I did like how he came at her. Like, it just was just like, listening to what he was saying, it was like, wow, he kind of really doesn't get it. Like, you really only made it about the sex. Like, he spent so much time talking about sex and being with her again instead of spending up more time talking about I'm not going to do it anymore, and how he's already trying to course correct versus like he made two things. Like, it don't matter that I'm not going to do it no more. It don't matter that I'm using his dude, and then he went straight into like multiple times, multiple ways that he want to layer on her back. You need me between your thighs, all this kind of stuff. It was all sexual with very little, attention to the actual action of an effort that he needed to put forth to get her back. So anyway, hopefully that made sense. Let me know what you guys think as we get into the conversation in the comments like we do. Once again, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later in the next video. Bye.